The alien research station floated silently in the void, its massive structure casting shadows across the nearby asteroid belt. Hundreds of alien scientists moved briskly through the corridors, their glowing eyes reflecting arrogance. In the center of the station, a single cryopod hummed, keeping its occupant in perfect suspended animation. The human inside, Jackson Kane, was considered nothing more than a specimen, a primitive creature for study. "This species is weak," an alien researcher hissed to his colleague. "Even after centuries of exposure, they cannot resist our control. Preserving him is merely a precaution." The pod was designed to hold him for decades, to allow the aliens to examine the limits of human biology. They had enhanced technology, bioadaptations, and weapons far beyond what humanity had ever dreamed. Jackson was nothing in their eyes. But no one expected the human to wake up. A sudden surge of energy ran through the station, a signal of a rival alien faction attacking. Alarms blared, echoing through every corridor. Security drones scrambled, weapons powered up, and panic spread among the researchers. The cryopod shuddered violently. Jackson's eyes snapped open. At first, he blinked against the artificial light, disoriented by the decades of sleep. Then, a slow realization dawned upon him. He was alive. More than alive, he felt stronger, faster. His senses were sharper than they had ever been. The cryo-sleep had preserved him, but it had also changed him. He moved before the aliens could react. One guard entered the room, weapon ready. Jackson caught the plasma rifle with ease, twisting the alien's wrist and tossing him across the room. Another rushed in, but Jackson's reflexes were too fast. He dodged, grabbed a metal support beam, and sent the alien crashing into the wall. Within seconds, the first wave of guards lay unconscious or incapacitated. The station was in chaos. Aliens screamed orders, but Jackson moved silently, efficiently, with purpose. He had not yet realized the full extent of his strength, but instinct guided him. Every movement was precise, every strike deadly. He paused, listening to the alarm chatter of the aliens. They believed in numbers, technology, and brute force. But Jackson had something they did not anticipate: human adaptability and intelligence enhanced by decades of cryosleep. He scanned the station layout on a nearby console. Alien technology had mapped the corridors, the labs, and the security hubs, but Jackson did not need their guidance. He knew instinctively where to go. As he moved through the corridors, more guards approached. They fired energy weapons, hoping to subdue him. Jackson dodged with speed that made them miss every shot. A warning shot burned a hole through the wall behind him, but he did not falter. He leapt, rolled, and struck, incapacitating enemies silently. In one laboratory, Jackson discovered a storage unit filled with alien weapons. Plasma rifles, energy blades, and bio-enhanced armor lay untouched. He realized that the aliens had underestimated him at every step. They assumed he was weak. He would prove them wrong. He picked up a weapon, testing its weight in his hands. It felt light, almost like an extension of his own strength. He fired at a distant training target. An energy pulse destroyed it instantly. A grin formed on his face. Not only had cryo-sleep preserved him, it had made him stronger than the aliens' weapons. Through the corridors, alarms continued to blare. Security forces were now organizing in larger numbers, but Jackson had learned quickly. He was faster, stronger, smarter. Every attack by the aliens was met with counterattack, every trap avoided. They had expected fear. He felt none. He reached the central control hub. Through the main screens, he could see the chaos outside. The station's docking bays were under assault by a rival alien faction. Ships collided, explosions flared, and debris floated through space. The station was in turmoil, and Jackson realized this was his opportunity. With calculated movements, he disabled security systems, locked doors to contain enemy patrols, and accessed communication channels. Alien scientists were screaming in panic, realizing that their specimen had become the predator. Suddenly, a massive security drone activated, its multiple limbs armed with lethal weapons. It moved toward Jackson with mechanical precision. He assessed it quickly. Using speed, agility, and raw strength, he dodged its first attacks, leapt onto its back, and tore apart its power core. Sparks flew. The drone collapsed, systems offline. The sound of alien panic filled the control hub. Jackson moved toward the station's docking bay. A small vessel awaited him, enough to escape the chaos and begin his journey. Alien reinforcements were already converging on the bay, but Jackson was ready. He leapt from platform to platform, avoiding energy blasts and neutralizing anyone who got in his way. Finally, he reached the ship. It was compact but powerful. With a deep breath, he activated the controls. The ship hummed to life and Jackson launched into the void. Behind him, the station erupted in fire and explosions, the cries of aliens echoing through space. From the safety of orbit, Jackson looked back. He had survived the impossible. He had awakened stronger than the weapons designed to control him. But he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that human strength, adaptability, and courage could not be contained. As he set a course for uncharted space, Jackson considered his next steps. He could have fled, hidden among the stars. But humans did not flee. They fought. And now, stronger than ever, he would strike back. The first suspenseful truth was clear. Cryosleep had preserved him, yes, but it had also awakened something the aliens could never predict. Humanity had a weapon they could not understand. One human, alone, was now a force capable of challenging entire fleets. In the distance, alien patrols scrambled, trying to intercept him. Jackson adjusted the ship's trajectory, evading detection, and preparing for the battles ahead. He knew the galaxy would not forgive this defiance. They would come for him, stronger, faster, deadlier. But Jackson was ready. The human who had been meant to be preserved was now a hunter, stronger than their weapons, smarter than their strategies, and unstoppable. And as he jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving the station and its chaos behind, the galaxy whispered a new legend. Cryosleep was meant to preserve him. No one expected the human to wake up stronger than their weapons. Jackson Kane's ship cut through the blackness of space, leaving the destroyed alien station behind. The flames and explosions glimmered against the void, reflecting in the viewport. His heart was steady. He had survived what should have been impossible. Yet he knew the real danger was just beginning. The aliens would not forgive this defiance. Multiple interceptors detected, Captain, said the ship's AI, calm and precise. The small vessel had limited defensive systems, but enough to evade standard attacks. Jackson's eyes narrowed. He could have fled into deep space, disappeared into unknown sectors. But humans did not merely run. They adapted, they fought, they survived. And he was no ordinary human. The cryosleep had awakened abilities that even he was still learning to control. Strength, reflexes, and intuition far beyond the alien expectations. The first wave of alien interceptors appeared. A dozen sleek, deadly ships, weapons bristling, engines glowing. They assumed numbers and firepower would overwhelm him. They assumed he would panic. They were wrong. Jackson's fingers moved across the console with lightning speed. He activated evasive maneuvers, twisting his ship through the asteroid belt at impossible angles. Energy beams streaked past him, striking rocks that exploded in brilliant flashes. One interceptor fired too close, and Jackson used his ship's momentum to slam into it, tearing the vessel apart with a single impact. The AI calculated new trajectories instantly. Warning: for more incoming. Trajectory matches standard intercept pattern. Evasion recommended. Jackson smirked. Standard is predictable. He looped around an asteroid, then shot upward, slamming the ship into the side of another interceptor. It exploded, debris scattering across the void. But the aliens were relentless. More ships appeared from hyperspace, a squadron of 10, faster and deadlier than before. Jackson felt the thrill of the hunt. He could see their overconfidence, every move calculated to trap a human, but none anticipating the strength and cunning of one awakened from cryosleep. He dove into a narrow canyon between massive floating asteroids. The alien ships followed, but the terrain was too tight, their weapons too large. Jackson's ship darted sideways, then upward, firing precisely aimed pulses that disabled engines and weapons systems. One by one, the squadron faltered, forced to retreat. Sweat gleamed on his forehead, though it should have been impossible in zero gravity. Jackson exhaled slowly. "They think speed and numbers win wars," he muttered. "They do not know humans." A sudden alert flashed on the HUD. Another ship, far larger, appeared on the horizon. It was a warship, bigger than anything he had faced before. Heavily armored, weapons bristling, shields glowing. The alien empire had deployed a serious hunter. Jackson's grin widened. Finally, a real challenge. He altered course, luring the smaller interceptors into a trap. Using debris from destroyed ships and a careful calculation of trajectories, he created a chain reaction. 2 enemy ships collided, another was caught in the blast, and the remaining ones fled in panic. His speed and strategy left them bewildered. The massive warship pursued him relentlessly. Energy beams lashed out, but Jackson's reflexes allowed him to dodge, twist, and anticipate the fire. He understood patterns, predicted trajectories, and used the ship's limited agility to his advantage. A clever maneuver sent the warship careening into an asteroid, causing it to take minor damage. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to shake the alien confidence. Below the stars, Jackson realized he needed allies. He plotted a course toward a remote human colony, hidden from alien surveillance for decades. If he could reach it, he could regroup, learn, and strike back. But the Empire would not allow him easy passage. Intercept drones and patrols awaited, spread like a web across the sector. Jackson used every ounce of skill, every second of reflex to evade detection. He moved silently, threading through narrow space channels, using debris and asteroid shadows as cover. Energy beams flew past him, missing by inches. Alien sensors scanned desperately, but humans were unpredictable. Finally, after hours of tense pursuit, Jackson reached the outer edge of the hidden colony. Its shield generators glowed faintly, concealing it from enemy detection. He docked the ship and exhaled, the first moment of relative safety he had felt since awakening. The colony's leader, a grizzled human named Mara, met him. Her eyes widened as she looked at Jackson, noting the confidence, the strength, the aura of someone far beyond normal human capability. "You're alive," she said, voice trembling. "I thought the Empire had killed you long ago." Jackson smiled faintly. "They thought I was weak. They were wrong." Mara gestured him inside. "We have been hiding, waiting, but with your strength we could strike back. The Empire underestimates us. Humans are stronger than they believe." Jackson nodded. His mind raced. He had survived impossible odds, outsmarted fleets, and evaded elite hunters. But this was only the beginning. He could not let the Empire continue their domination. They would learn that one human could turn the galaxy upside down. That night, Jackson walked among the colony's hidden forests. Stars glittered above, alien patrols unaware of his presence. He flexed his hands, feeling his muscles, his reflexes, and the power flowing through him. Cryo sleep had preserved him, yes, but it had awakened something more. A force that could challenge entire fleets. "I was preserved, but now I am stronger," he whispered. "They wanted me weak, compliant, but I am neither. They will learn the truth world by world." As Jackson prepared to train, plan, and strike back, the distant glow of alien patrols reminded him. The hunt was far from over. The Empire would send more, stronger, and smarter forces. But humans adapted. Humans fought. Humans survived. And Jackson Kane, awakened and unstoppable, would prove that the galaxy had misjudged humanity at its own peril. Jackson Kane had reached the hidden human colony, but there was no time to rest. The alien empire would not allow one human to escape, let alone grow stronger. Scouts and drones had already reported his presence, and a fleet was mobilizing to intercept him. Jackson knew this was more than a chase. It was a war. Inside the colony, Jackson trained with the hidden humans, but he quickly realized that his strength was beyond even their understanding. Cryosleep had preserved him, yes, but it had enhanced his reflexes, strength, and mental acuity. Every movement was precise, every reaction faster than a laser shot. He could analyze complex situations in seconds and anticipate enemy actions before they happened. The colony elders watched in awe as Jackson effortlessly lifted and destroyed alien training droids that were impossible for normal humans to even dent. One elder muttered, "He is more than human. He is evolution." But Jackson's first test came sooner than expected. Scouts reported an incoming alien strike force, 50 warships approaching rapidly, armed with energy weapons and missile arrays. Most humans would have panicked, but Jackson remained calm. He studied the ships on the holographic display, noting weaknesses in formation, firing sequences, and shield patterns. "This is predictable," he said softly. "They assume numbers will overwhelm us. They are wrong." Jackson led a strike team in a small, agile vessel. The humans followed, trusting his instincts and planning. As they approached the alien fleet, Jackson revealed the first twist. He could control his vessel with a precision unmatched by any pilot, executing maneuvers that made it seem the ship was alive, anticipating every attack. Alien turrets fired relentlessly. Energy beams lanced toward the human ship, but Jackson twisted and dodged, weaving through the volley. He launched precise counterstrikes, destroying key systems on the lead warships before the rest could react. Explosions lit the dark void, and alien soldiers began to panic. Suddenly, an enormous warship emerged, larger than any Jackson had faced before. His weapons glowed, ready to annihilate everything. The alien commander, sensing an opportunity, activated a massive energy cannon, assuming that one human could not survive such firepower. Jackson did not flinch. Instead, he analyzed the cannon, predicting its charge sequence. As the beam fired, he twisted the ship mid-air, dodging with impossible precision, and simultaneously launched a strike that disabled the cannon in seconds. Alien soldiers were stunned. How could one human anticipate and counter their most powerful weapon? On the colony's surface, humans watched the unfolding battle through remote feeds. Jackson's strategy was simple but devastating. Exploit weaknesses, strike fast, and retreat before the enemy could respond. The alien fleet, confident in numbers and firepower, found themselves outsmarted at every turn. But the twist was not just his skill in battle. During cryo sleep, Jackson's body had undergone subtle enhancements at the cellular level. His muscles could generate extraordinary force, his reflexes operated at superhuman speed, and his mind processed information almost instantly. He could anticipate enemy moves like a chess master seeing 10 moves ahead. As the alien fleet faltered, Jackson executed a daring maneuver. He led a single strike ship straight into the midst of the enemy formation, dodging fire, weaving through ships, and targeting the alien flagship directly. 10 perfectly aimed shots disabled its engines, leaving it drifting and vulnerable. The smaller alien ships, now without guidance, scattered in panic. Back at the colony, Mara, the human leader, watched in disbelief. "He is unstoppable. We have never seen anything like this," she whispered. The other humans nodded, realizing that Jackson was no ordinary soldier. He was a weapon designed by evolution and circumstance. As the battle ended, Jackson returned to the colony, his ship glowing from minor impacts but fully operational. The aliens were retreating, sending reports of their defeat back to the Empire. One officer whispered in fear, "It is not just skill. It is a human. One human, and he is stronger than our weapons." Jackson stepped out of the ship, his body still radiating strength and confidence. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They thought cryo sleep preserved me. It did. But it also awakened something they cannot control." The humans began preparing for the next phase, taking the fight to the Empire. With Jackson's abilities, combined with human ingenuity and strategy, they realized that one human could change the balance of power across the galaxy. The twist of the story was clear. The Empire had underestimated the human species. They had assumed preservation meant weakness, that their weapons could control and contain him. They were wrong. Jackson Kane was a force they could not predict, a being stronger than any weapon they possessed. As the colony prepared defensive and offensive plans, Jackson looked to the stars, plotting the next move. The alien empire would retaliate, sending fleets larger and deadlier than ever. But humans had learned a vital truth. With strength, intelligence, and courage, even one human could overcome impossible odds. And as he clenched his fists, feeling the raw power coursing through him, he whispered, almost to himself, "They wanted a specimen. They got a warrior. And the galaxy will learn humans are not to be underestimated." Jackson Kane had survived impossible odds, defeated a fleet far superior in numbers, and revealed the terrifying truth of human potential. Yet there was no time to celebrate. The alien empire would not tolerate defiance. They had already begun mobilizing stronger forces, faster ships, and elite strike teams, all determined to capture or destroy him. From the colony's command center, Jackson studied the approaching fleets on the holographic display. Sensors showed multiple squadrons converging from different angles, each armed with the deadliest weapons the Empire possessed. Most humans would have panicked. Jackson did not. He had been awakened for this. His reflexes were sharper, his mind faster, his strength beyond what any alien expected. "They think numbers win," he muttered to Mara, the colony's leader. "They do not understand humans." The colony's fleet was small, under-equipped, and untested against the Empire's might. But Jackson had a plan. He took a single strike ship and led a small team, using stealth and precision to lure the alien forces into traps. The chase began. As the alien interceptors approached, Jackson guided his ship through a dense asteroid field. The rocks were enormous, jagged, and unforgiving. One wrong move could destroy his vessel. But Jackson anticipated every movement. He dodged plasma blasts, weaving between asteroids, and fired with surgical precision. Several alien ships collided with asteroids, their hulls tearing apart instantly. The AI aboard his ship calculated trajectories, missile speeds, and enemy fire patterns. Jackson smiled. The AI was useful, but it could not predict his improvisation. He took sharp turns that no algorithm could anticipate, launching attacks from angles the aliens did not expect. One interceptor tried to flank him from above. Jackson twisted mid-flight, using the asteroid for cover, and disabled it with a single shot. Meanwhile, the alien commander unleashed a new weapon, a massive energy net designed to trap his ship. It shot toward him like a giant cage of light. Jackson analyzed the velocity, calculated the release timing, and accelerated his ship at impossible speed, slipping through the net just inches from impact. The net slammed against an asteroid, snapping and disabling two alien ships caught in its blast. The chase extended for hours across multiple star systems. Jackson's endurance was unmatched. While the aliens relied on technology, he relied on instinct, intelligence, and adaptability. He turned dangerous environments into advantages, guiding his small team through asteroid belts, abandoned stations, and debris fields. Every obstacle became a weapon. Every attack he faced became an opportunity. On one tense stretch, a squadron of cloaked alien warships attempted a surprise strike. Jackson anticipated the ambush, flipping his ship upside down and firing backward while weaving through narrow canyons of asteroids. The enemy ships were destroyed before they even realized his position. His reflexes, enhanced by cryosleep, were faster than any weapon targeting system. Below, the colony watched the battle unfold on the main screens. Mara whispered in disbelief, "I cannot believe one human can do this. He is unstoppable." The other humans nodded silently, realizing that Jackson's strength was more than physical. It was the power of strategy, adaptability, and courage combined. But the alien empire was relentless. They deployed a massive warship, larger than any Jackson had faced. Its shields glowed with energy fields designed to resist even human ingenuity. The vessel fired relentless beams and missiles, forcing Jackson to push his ship to the absolute limit. He dodged, countered, and struck, using the environment to his advantage. In a daring move, Jackson led the warship into a dense asteroid cluster. It fired blindly, striking asteroids that exploded around it, damaging its shields and engines. With precision timing, Jackson fired 10 perfectly aimed shots at its weak points, crippling the ship. Sparks and explosions lit the void as the warship drifted helplessly. As the remaining alien forces scattered, Jackson's team regrouped near the colony. He exhaled, his chest heaving slightly, not from fear, but from exertion and concentration. The chase had been relentless, but it had revealed something important. Even against overwhelming odds, a human could survive, adapt, and triumph. Mara approached him, awe in her eyes. They will not stop. The Empire will send more, stronger, faster. How can we defend ourselves? Jackson's gaze swept across the stars, calm and unwavering. We will fight smarter. We will use our environment, our instincts, and our courage. They underestimate humans, but they will learn. Every attack they send, we will survive. Every attempt to trap us, we will overcome. And every world they try to control, we will show them what humans are capable of. That night, Jackson walked among the hidden forests of the colony, staring at the stars. The Empire believed humans were weak, primitive, and predictable. They were wrong. Cryo sleep had preserved him, but it had also awakened something they could not understand. Strength beyond their weapons, intelligence beyond their strategies, and courage that could face any odds. Jackson clenched his fists. They wanted a weak human. They got a hunter. They wanted a prisoner. They got a warrior. And they will see, world by world, that humans do not kneel. Humans rise. As he prepared to train the colony's fighters and plan the next strike, sensors picked up new blips approaching, faster ships, bigger fleets. The chase was far from over. The Empire was relentless, but so was he. And across the galaxy, whispers began to spread among the alien ranks. One human has awakened. One human has survived impossible odds. One human could change the fate of worlds. Jackson smiled faintly. He was ready. The hunt would continue, and humanity's legend was only beginning. The hidden human colony buzzed with activity. Jackson Kane, now fully awake and aware of his extraordinary abilities, stood at the command center, plotting the first strike against the Empire. For too long, humans had been prey, underestimated, and dismissed. Now, with his strength, reflexes, and intelligence amplified beyond expectation, they could fight back. Mara, the colony's leader, approached cautiously. Captain Kane, are you sure we can take them on? Their fleets are massive. Their weapons are far superior. Jackson's gaze was unwavering. Numbers mean nothing if you know where to strike. We will hit them where they do not expect it. Quick, precise, and decisive. That is how humans win. The target, an alien supply station in orbit around a resource-rich planet. It was lightly defended but critical for the Empire's operations. Destroying it would disrupt supply lines and send a warning. Humanity was no longer weak. Jackson led a small strike team in agile ships, taking the fastest, most dangerous routes to avoid detection. As they approached the station, alien patrols appeared, weapons glowing. Most humans would have panicked at the sight of dozens of alien soldiers and automated turrets. Jackson smiled faintly. He did not panic, he adapted. Using the asteroids for cover, he piloted the ship through narrow gaps and around floating debris. Energy blasts streaked past, missing him by inches. With superhuman precision, he fired, disabling enemy turrets one by one. The strike team followed his lead, coordinating attacks with movements faster than any algorithm could track. Upon reaching the station, Jackson and his team executed a daring boarding maneuver. Using grappling hooks and plasma cutters, they infiltrated the hull. Inside, alarms blared, and alien soldiers scrambled to respond. But Jackson's abilities allowed him to move like a shadow. He dodged energy blasts, struck enemies with precise blows, and used his enhanced strength to turn the environment into weapons. A massive alien commander appeared, wielding a bio-enhanced energy blade. Most humans would have been cut down instantly. Jackson did not flinch. With a single movement, he dodged, disarmed, and incapacitated the commander, leaving the other soldiers stunned. They had never faced a human who could move and strike with such speed and intelligence. Meanwhile, the colony's remote team hacked the station systems, opening doors and creating chaos. Jackson's strike team coordinated perfectly, moving through corridors with deadly efficiency. Explosions rocked the station as critical systems failed. Alien soldiers tried to regroup, but Jackson anticipated every move, intercepting reinforcements before they could react. In the control room, Jackson disabled the station's main weapons. 10 perfectly aimed plasma shots took out the central energy core, causing massive explosions. The station began to crumble, debris floating into orbit. Jackson led his team back to their ships, launching just as the station erupted in fire and light. From orbit, the human fleet watched as the supply station disintegrated. Mara exhaled, awestruck. He did it. He single-handedly destroyed it. We have never seen anything like this. Jackson looked at the horizon, calm, knowing this was just the beginning. The Empire would retaliate, sending stronger forces, faster ships, and elite soldiers. But humans had discovered a key truth. One human, strategically thinking and enhanced beyond expectations, could strike where the Empire was weakest and survive impossible odds. The news spread quickly across the galaxy. Alien factions whispered in fear. One human has destroyed a critical station alone. One human leads their species, and he cannot be stopped. Back at the colony, Jackson addressed the human fighters. They believe strength alone will win. They do not understand us. We are adaptable. We are clever. And we are relentless. Today we strike. Tomorrow we take more. One victory at a time, world by world. He paused, looking at each of the fighters, his gaze intense. Remember this, they underestimate us. They think we are weak. They are wrong. And we will show them why. The colony's humans trained harder, inspired by Jackson's display of strength and strategy. He taught them how to use the environment, improvise, and coordinate attacks with precision. Each human became a weapon in their own right, guided by Jackson's unmatched abilities and leadership. As night fell over the hidden planet, Jackson watched the stars. He knew the Empire would send larger fleets, more deadly commanders, and hidden traps. But he also knew something else. Humans adapt, humans survive, and humans fight like no other species in the galaxy. The Empire had expected compliance. They had expected fear. They had expected weakness. Instead, they faced a human who could outthink, outmaneuver, and outfight their most powerful forces. Jackson clenched his fists, feeling the strength flowing through him. Cryo sleep had preserved him, but it had also awakened something the Empire could not control. A human capable of changing the fate of worlds. And so, the first major counterattack had succeeded. Humanity had struck back. The Empire had learned that they could no longer dismiss or underestimate humans. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Beware the human. One awakened human can destroy fleets, outsmart commanders, and lead a species to victory. Jackson looked at the stars and smiled faintly. This is only the beginning. They wanted a prisoner. They got a warrior. And the galaxy will know our strength. The galaxy had begun to whisper Jackson Kane's name. One human had destroyed a key supply station, outmaneuvered entire fleets, and survived impossible odds. But the Empire would not allow one human to become a symbol of rebellion. They sent their deadliest commander, Admiral Xyler, a legendary tactician known for crushing entire planets with his fleets. His ships were heavily armed, shielded, and coordinated by AI that rivaled anything humans had ever seen. Jackson stood on the bridge of the colony's command ship, staring at the approaching fleet. Hundreds of warships moved with precision, energy weapons glowing ominously. Most humans would have panicked. Jackson did not. He had been awakened for moments like this. They've sent their best, Mara said, voice tense. Are we ready? Jackson's eyes were calm. They are strong, yes, but they are predictable. They underestimate us. We will survive, and we will strike back harder than ever. The battle began before they reached the planet. Admiral Xyler's fleet unleashed a barrage of plasma beams, missiles, and energy pulses. Jackson's small fleet twisted and turned, evading fire with speed and precision that made the aliens believe they were ghosts. Jackson piloted the lead ship himself, weaving through laser fire and dodging energy volleys. 10 rapid shots from the ship's enhanced cannons disabled critical systems on the first wave of attackers. Alien soldiers were stunned. One human had destroyed a squadron before they could even react. But Admiral Zyler was not one to be fooled. His flagship emerged, massive and terrifying. Its shields glowed, energy weapons charged, and deathly drones hovered around its hull. He expected Jackson to flee or surrender. He was wrong. Jackson led a daring maneuver, splitting his team to flank the fleet. Using asteroid belts and debris as cover, he struck the enemy from angles they could not anticipate. Every shot, every movement, was calculated to cripple, confuse, and demoralize the enemy. Below, Mara coordinated human fighters on the planet's surface. The Empire had sent elite squads to attack the colony. Jackson's strategies guided them, creating ambushes, traps, and decoys. Alien soldiers fell to carefully orchestrated attacks, leaving the ground battle in chaos. The flagship's massive energy cannons targeted Jackson directly. He twisted the ship at impossible angles, dodging beams that should have vaporized him. Using his superhuman reflexes and intelligence, he disabled multiple weapon systems with perfectly timed shots. Sparks flew across the enemy hull, systems failing one by one. Admiral Zyler's officers began to panic. How can one human move faster than our weapons? How can one human destroy fleets with such precision? Jackson's fleet pressed the advantage. Small strike teams sabotaged enemy shields, destroyed drones, and disabled engines. The massive flagship struggled to maintain formation. Alien ships collided, energy beams misfired, and chaos reigned. Finally, Jackson executed a bold plan. He lured the flagship into a dense asteroid cluster, forcing the massive vessel to maneuver at impossible angles. Using 10 perfectly aimed shots, he struck critical weak points in the engines and shields. The flagship staggered, sparks flying, systems failing. Admiral Zyler barked orders in disbelief. His fleet began to falter, retreating as confusion spread. Back at the colony, humans cheered silently. For the first time, they saw what one human could do, not just survive but dominate. Jackson Kane had turned the tide of the battle. He emerged from the asteroid field, scanning the retreating fleet. The Empire had learned a dangerous lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. One human could outthink, outmaneuver, and outfight their most powerful commander. Mara approached him, awe in her eyes. "Captain, you've done the impossible again. The Empire sent their strongest, and you've survived. You've inspired all of us." Jackson looked at the stars, calm and resolute. "This was not just me. It was strategy, courage, and adaptability. They underestimated humans, and they will continue to pay for it. Every fleet, every commander, every world, they will learn that humans cannot be controlled." Reports of the battle spread across the galaxy. Alien factions whispered in fear, "The human is unstoppable. He destroyed fleets that were meant to crush us. He cannot be predicted. He is beyond our weapons." Jackson knew the Empire would strike again, stronger, smarter, and more relentless. But he also knew humans had a strength no one could match: the ability to adapt, survive, and strike back against impossible odds. As he prepared for the next battle, Jackson whispered to himself, "They brought their best. They thought they could break us. They were wrong. One human can change the fate of worlds. And we have only just begun." The pre-final showdown had ended in victory for humanity. But the Empire's wrath was far from over. Jackson Kane had become a symbol, a force of unstoppable human potential. The legend of the awakened human would echo across the stars, and the galaxy would soon learn the true meaning of human strength and ingenuity. The galaxy had never witnessed anything like it. Jackson Kane, the human who had survived cryo sleep and emerged stronger than any weapon, had become a symbol of hope and fear. The alien empire, humiliated by previous defeats, had gathered its full might. Hundreds of massive warships, elite strike squads, and the Empire's deadliest commanders moved through space, ready to crush humanity once and for all. Jackson stood on the bridge of the Aurora, his personal strike ship, now upgraded with alien technology scavenged from previous battles. Beside him, Mara and the colony's human leaders prepared their forces. Their fleet was smaller, but Jackson's strategy and human ingenuity were unmatched. "They think they can end us," Jackson said quietly, staring at the glowing armada. "They do not understand humans." The first volley struck. Energy beams tore through space, missiles streaked past, and debris from destroyed ships floated in the void. Human pilots dodged, using Jackson's precise maneuvers as guidance. Every move was calculated, every attack planned. Jackson's reflexes and strength allowed him to anticipate enemy strikes, countering before they could react. The battle quickly escalated. Alien warships attempted to trap the human fleet in a coordinated assault. Jackson split his forces using decoys and diversion tactics. Smaller ships attacked from unexpected angles, while Jackson's strike team targeted critical systems on the enemy flagships. The Empire had expected fear. They found determination, and a force they could not predict. Jackson led a daring assault on the largest enemy vessel. Shields glowed, weapons charged, and the alien commander, a towering figure in advanced bio-armor, awaited. Most humans would have been destroyed instantly. Jackson moved like lightning, dodging energy beams, striking with superhuman strength, and using the ship's environment to his advantage. 10 precise shots tore through the flagship's critical systems, disabling weapons, engines, and communications in seconds. Explosions erupted across the alien fleet. Ships collided, energy cannons misfired, and chaos reigned. Jackson's fleet pressed the advantage. Smaller ships, inspired by his actions, executed coordinated strikes with unprecedented skill. Human ingenuity and adaptability turned every attack into an opportunity. The alien commander activated an ultimate weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of destroying planets. Most humans would have fled, but Jackson did not. Using speed, timing, and intelligence, he maneuvered through its fire, dodging the deadly blasts, and struck the weapon's control system. Sparks flew, systems failed, and the weapon became inert. The Empire's most powerful weapon was neutralized by one human. Across the galaxy, alien soldiers whispered in fear, "One human has defeated our fleets. One human has destroyed our deadliest weapons. We cannot stop him." Meanwhile, on the colony and allied planets, humans cheered, their morale soaring. Jackson had not just survived. He had turned the tide of war. The Empire had underestimated humanity, believing their technology and numbers would suffice. They were wrong. Humanity was unpredictable, resourceful, and unstoppable when united under courage and strength. Jackson pressed the attack. He coordinated strikes on multiple fronts, disabling the remaining alien ships with precision. Each movement demonstrated not only his superhuman abilities but also the power of human strategy and determination. The Empire's fleet, leaderless and demoralized, began to retreat. Finally, the battle ended. Silence fell across the void, broken only by the distant crackle of energy from damaged ships. Jackson and his fleet drifted through space, victorious but vigilant. Humanity had survived impossible odds, defeated fleets, and shown that even one human could change the course of the galaxy. Mara approached Jackson on the bridge, awe in her eyes. "You've done the impossible," she said. "They will never forget this. Humanity has risen." Jackson looked at the stars, calm, resolute. "This is only the beginning. They thought humans were weak. They thought we could be controlled. They were wrong. One human, one species, can rise against any empire. World by world, we will show them what we are capable of." Across the galaxy, humans rebuilt, trained, and prepared. Alien factions whispered in fear and awe. Legends of Jackson Kane spread. The human who awakened from cryo sleep, stronger than any weapon, who had outsmarted fleets, defeated commanders, and led humanity to victory. As Jackson stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars, he understood the truth of human potential. Cryo sleep had preserved him, but it had also awakened something greater. Humanity's strength, intelligence, courage, and resilience could not be contained. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. With the alien fleets retreating and human forces gaining momentum, Jackson whispered, almost to himself, "They wanted a prisoner. They got a warrior. They wanted obedience. They got a force. Humanity rises, and the stars will remember our name." And so Jackson Kane became a legend. Not just a hero, but a symbol. One human could change the fate of worlds, and humanity would never kneel again. The galaxy was quiet now, but it would not remain so for long. For the Empire had learned a painful truth. Humans adapt, humans fight, and humans rise stronger than any weapon. World by world, battle by battle, legend by legend. Jackson turned his gaze to the stars ahead. A new journey awaited. The Empire would rebuild, stronger and deadlier, but humans had tasted victory. They had discovered their potential. And with Jackson Kane leading the charge, the galaxy would never be the same again.